Hello and welcome. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And together we host the Ultimate Fan Podcast, the show where the greatest fans discuss the greatest in entertainment across the universe. Today we're going on with our MCU review, and we're at Thor. Man, we're flying.
It's going by so fast.
Yeah, we're thundering through this MCU review.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything for that.
We're hitting each
It
one
is
hard.
what it is.
We're hammering out our reviews.
I like that one better.
Yeah?
I like that one better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're-
I don't have much to add to
We're
that.
rolling through the Marvel Cinematic Universe like thunder
Yeah.
across the plains of New Mexico.
I like that one.
Okay.
All right, let's move on from forced punnage.
Forced. Those were Thorst.
Ah.
These are low-key puns.
Can we stop? Can we stop? I'm over it.
I've got them all day, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Thor came out in 2011, shortly before Captain America.
A year after
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, in the year of our Lord, 2011.
The year of our... Speaking of which, oh man.
We are talking about gods.
Gosh, we're going to be talking about fantasy. We're going to be talking about gods. We're going to be talking about magic, myth, legend, and science.
Magic? You mean just science we don't understand yet?
Yeah, the magic in your world. Your ancestors called it magic.
That's a weird... What impression is that? Is that your Thor?
I know. I immediately regretted
God.
it. That was like Gandalf. Okay. So before we get into this, I have Thor in my MCU ranking pretty near the bottom.
Wait, let's save that for the end.
Are you?
Yeah, let's save that one for the end.
Okay.
That's where we've traditionally been doing it. Let's save that for the end. 'Cause I want to talk about the movie, and then we after that we'll let people know where we rank it.
Yeah. And you've already said this before, but this wasn't you didn't see this movie in theaters, right?
No, this is the last Marvel movie that I didn't see in theaters.
Because you saw Captain America.
Yeah, I remember. This is actually one of the first things that got me like, oh, Marvel movies and like superheroes and stuff. Because I came to church and all my friends had gone to see Thor. I'm like, who is Thor? I don't know who Thor is.
Who cares about him?
Yeah, I'm like, but everyone was like, man, we had such a good time with Thor. I'm like, maybe I need to check out who Thor is.
Yeah.
No, I actually watched this movie after Captain America: First Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
Cap was my first. Yeah,
like right after.
No, like 2 months afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I bought the DVD on a hunting trip and watched it in the woods and on my laptop.
Yeah. On a hunting trip.
Yeah,
That
that is the
weird...
setting in which I watched the God of Thunder make his debut.
That's both awesome and it's just like I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah, it's weird. I have a weird Thor first story.
Yeah.
But I had a good time and I really enjoyed it.
My Thor first story was theater. I was full on board. I was in it to win it. I was in high school, and I think I was starting to get wrapped up in just like.
Was it your senior year?
No. It was my junior year.
Okay.
I was starting to get wrapped up in like, Avengers whisperings were in full swing. Captain America was being advertised, and like I think that was it. Is I was ready for Thor, but I was probably expecting it to not be super great because I was like, nobody knows who Thor is. What are they going to do with this movie? Mm-hmm. Even though I knew who he was, but then I was also like, I was just like, I want to get to Captain America. That's what I care about. Mm-hmm. And I think I was,
I think you're right in feeling that way.
Yeah, I was just a comic book fan and like a nerd who loved the comics. And who was just like, who, when they first started talking about Avengers, was feeling like this probably isn't going to actually happen. Like I'll be impressed and surprised if they actually pull this off and it's good.
Kind of like what we thought about Justice League.
Yeah. Yeah. But imagine if Justice League came first. This feeling of
and it was good.
Yeah. And it was good. That's the problem, guys. It was fine.
And that's the worst thing you could say about a Justice League movie.
It should never be.
Just fine. Because you have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman alone in your movies. And that's 3 of the greatest comic book characters of all time.
Yeah.
Arguably on par with or superior to Marvel's best characters.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, before we get any further in, the release date Some big
we have
news.
some breaking news.
Some big news in the MCU. The release date of Avengers: Infinity War, which is the whole reason we're doing this MCU review, is kind of like the road to that movie's release and preparing, kind of doing a review of all the films leading up to it.
Hopefully, it doesn't suck, because that is a whole lot of build up to nothing.
Yeah.
But you could say that about the entire Marvel universe at this point, if that turns out to be the case. Which I hope it's not.
Every movie feels like a building block, like that they're. But so the release date got moved up from May 4th.
A whole freaking week, thanks to Robert Downey Jr. on Twitter. It was May 3rd or 4th, I don't remember.
Yeah. And it got moved up to April 27th, is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
thanks to Robert Downey Jr. on Twitter. If you haven't seen, there's a cool little exchange between Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel Studios
on Twitter,
how they released that they were moving it a week up.
Yeah.
You should go check that out. But what was really cool about this is that now we don't have to dodge spoilers, because the movie was going to come out in some regions around the world before the U.S. on April 27th originally, but the Russo brothers, the directors of Avengers: Infinity War, were able to move the release date up to the 27th in all regions. So that way the movie simultaneously comes out in all markets, I believe. So that way none of us have to dodge spoilers for a week, which I am extremely grateful for.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm excited. It means we're gonna.
It means our job got harder, because we got to
kick into gear.
We got to really kick it into gear if we're gonna make it.
So you can expect to have all the MCU reviews from us done from Ultimate Fan Podcast, but
before we arrive at Infinity War.
If you're worried about watching the films, you have more than enough time to watch every movie.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Before that happens. So let's get into Thor. Let's talk about it. General thoughts. Did you like it then? Do you like it now still?
Yeah, for me, this one hasn't aged as well as Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 1 for me. But I still really like it. It's definitely aged way better than Incredible Hulk did.
Yeah.
But for me, it's hard watching this movie. It's not hard watching this movie, but it's hard evaluating this movie in a post Ragnarok universe, because I've seen what Thor can be, and how good Ragnarok is, and how much better it is compared to this movie. So it's hard looking at this movie in retrospect, because Ragnarok is so much better and more entertaining and more fun.
So yes, I respectfully disagree with you.
What, you like this more than Ragnarok?
No, I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
What I'm going to say is, looking back, I found it easier to watch. Like you said, it was kind of hard in retrospect to look back and see.
Really appreciate this movie on its own terms.
I appreciated it more now.
Okay.
From where we're at, but I see the things you're saying. My biggest cons with it are parts of it that I think haven't aged well, that we'll get into. But I think that there are parts that age well, and not few in number. I think that. So we'll get into this near the end. We'll have a little bit of a classroom debate on this film and where it fits.
This is the first movie I think Ian and I kind of land in different places on.
Yeah, like maybe widely different place. Not like,
I don't say widely.
Yeah, you don't hate it. I'm not in love with it, but
yeah, it's just this movie's kind of there, just there and kind of dull for me. I've always felt that way, and in a post Ragnarok universe, that's accentuated even more for me.
Yeah, or I think it's valuable in the MCU and as just like a superhero movie, and I think it takes a step in the MCU. I think it takes an even larger step forward than Iron Man 2 does, and I think
in what sense?
Well, I don't want to get into too much of it now. I think we should save it. Let's just break down the movie first.
Okay.
But I just want to say, I think it's valuable. I think it.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying the movie doesn't have value,
and I think as a movie, it might be better than Iron Man 2.
Nope.
So,
all right, let's get into the movie.
Notes, pros, cons. What do you think? Do you have a top favorite moment?
For me, let's see. Probably, I really like the "I need a horse" Like, my favorite, a lot of my favorite moments in this movie are the comedic moments.
Yeah,
because I think Chris Hemsworth is an underrated comedic talent that's like finally coming into his own now. He's just an
underrated actor.
Yeah, he nails the dramatic moments. He nails the comedic moments. But for me, the comedic moments are probably my favorite parts of this movie. I mean, I'm talking about like Chris Hemsworth's comedic moments, not Darcy or like Jane's comedic moments. Don't really care about those all that much. I don't really like Darcy all that much.
I like Darcy. Yeah. I used to have a crush on her. I used to think she was
really
cute. Yeah, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. She's like the main girl in that.
Yeah, I love the I need a horse. I need another, like those are like I want another, and he like smashes the glass in the cafe scene. That's legendary for me. That's like a top 5, no, probably a top 10 MCU moment, and that's like in phase 1, and that's still like referenced today by lots of people. I think that's the most like lasting impression that this movie made.
When we were watching it, you said this is such a gifable movie.
Yeah, there's like Thor flipping the table,
the huge
after his coronation, massive table with so much food.
I want to know if that was like how heavy that table actually was when they shot that. Like, because I'm sure that's totally a practical effect of Hemsworth just flipping a real table. Like,
I love Anthony Hopkins in this.
Oh yeah,
but you're not killed yet.
No
silence. Yeah, like Anthony Hopkins like elevates what could be very generic, boring dad material.
Yeah, especially Odin.
Yeah,
like this. We've seen Zeus. Like let's compare Liam Neeson's Zeus in Clash of the Titans, which isn't an incredible whatever, but to like Odin, like
fun fact, directed by Louis Leterrier. I forget how to pronounce his last name, but the director of Incredible Hulk.
Really?
Yeah, he did the Clash of the Titans movies.
Well, there we go.
That makes sense.
We'll just move on from there, I guess. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is Odin, I think, we could have seen something along those lines. This sort of like this big bad, top dog god figure who's just kind of shallow and very flat.
You don't get a whole lot of backstory for him.
You don't, but like in a post Ragnarok viewing, I'm seeing stuff that they were setting up in Odin's character like all along.
Yeah, maybe not setting up.
No, but
there's dramatic material that they built upon.
Yeah. We see a king.
Ragnarok really improved my impression of Odin in this movie because I have more backstory for him.
Yeah, we see a king who has learned lessons in this film.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So you like Hopkins. I like Hopkins.
Yeah, he elevates what's or in the script to a much higher level because his awesome performance.
Yeah, and I think I'll say this before we get back into kind of your favorite stuff. I think looking back, I don't remember Hemsworth being as good of an actor as I think he is.
Yeah, he's there. Well, for me, like when I saw him first was Star Trek 2009.
Yeah.
Like he nails that.
That moment.
He
hasn't done a lot.
The
before
beginning
this.
of the USS Kelvin in that movie is my favorite. Like probably my favorite Star Trek moment.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Less than 15 minutes of screen time, and he evokes emotion in us, right? And I feel like he does it with Thor, with a character who is historically flat and not rounded in the who's I'm the almighty Thor, like fear me, like I'll smite thee.
He can often come off as very flat in the comics.
Yeah, he just kind of stands on the side and he waits until the end and he's like justice, and then he hits stuff. He's the nuke. He's the 10-ton
But when you
nuke.
use him for for comedic purposes, that's a lot of times when he shines.
Well, I think comedic and dramatic in this film, he plays the whole board, and I think Hopkins and Hiddleston. Also, I realized there are 3 H's: Hopkins, Hiddleston, Hemsworth.
Yeah, I noticed that. In the
they
movie
all bounce off each other and they play together well. There's a couple scenes where there's all 3 of them, and the climax is all 3 of them, and it's incredible.
It's kind of a bummer that Frida doesn't have much to do.
Yeah,
She's just kind of there.
I think we see that in Thor 2. They kind of tried to bone up on that. They tried to bone up on
kill
Asgard.
her. Spoilers, they kill her. But that's honestly my favorite moment of Thor 2. It's like her death and like her funeral, her Viking funeral.
I can't remember hardly anything from Thor 2. I think my favorite part is Loki pretending to be Captain America.
Oh. Like Chris Hemsworth, like Chris Evans. We'll save that for Thor 2.
Yeah. But your other favorite moments, I know you like the hammer. We both love the hammer scene.
Yeah, when Thor is trying to break into the shield base around the crater. I love that. All the action stuff is a lot of fun. Hawkeye, bro. I'm even though like Hawkeye doesn't have that much to do,
building the universe.
Yeah, we're introducing Hawkeye. It's great to have him there. He feels a little tacked on, and I would like a little bit more from like an introduction of Hawkeye. But I'm glad that he's there.
Yeah, they don't call him Hawkeye. We just see the bow.
I love the moment where he goes to grab the gun, but he grabs the bow instead. Yeah. That's awesome.
We hear Coulson call him Barton, and I love the one line where he's like I'm starting to root for this guy. Like,
yeah,
so good.
Yeah, Hawkeye's sense of humor is like from the MCU is there from like his first appearance.
Yeah. Renner is great.
He really is.
He owns that role. The look, everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, but
Thor's when he's fighting with the guy in the mud, and he does that like double kick,
jump
in slow mo.
Like,
that's awesome. That's one of my favorite moments in the movie. And then when he's trying to lift up Mjolnir, and his muscles look freaking massive in the rain. Yeah, he's yelling. I love how it completely breaks him.
Yeah, it's such a dramatic.
It humbles him so much.
Yeah.
For me, like the highlight of this movie is Thor's arc.
Yeah,
Thor going from impetuous, cocky, conceited prince to a seasoned, still prince, but on his way to becoming king.
Yeah, and
his arc in this movie, it's very well done. The highs hit, the lows hit, and I another one of my favorite moments is when he's banished.
Yeah.
I stood from you, my fathers. And my grandfather before me, and just like Hopkins going off, and I love that,
ripping off his armor,
scene. It's that's one of my favorite parts. I also love like the action scene on Jotunheim in the beginning. Thor's throwing down with the hammer. There's one thing about that's one of my least favorite things about the movie, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, those are some of my favorite moments.
I think, man, you're building my argument for me. Okay. I think Thor's story arc is one of the best. I love that line at the end.
Best in what?
Like in the MCU. And I'll say...
Are you talking specifically about his arc in this movie? Or just his general arc over all of his films?
Yes, both. I think like a hero's journey. We see heroes learn stuff in a lot of the MCU in different films, but like apart from like just one general lesson, and there's not so many dramatic changes like in one film or in one story.
It's building on each other.
Yeah, and I think
really well.
Thor's one of those characters, like I was just saying, where we don't, I think for a lot of the audience, a lot of the viewership, he was like a brand new character.
He was for me. I didn't know who Thor was before his movie.
Exactly. And so like it's introducing a new character and somebody like here we go. I know what I'm talking about. The creators can just drop this character almost as if he's brand new in our laps and be like, here's where he starts, and we're going to take him on this progression.
Yeah.
And I love how we get to Ragnarok where we're at now, and
he finally becomes king after trying to avoid it all this time.
Yeah, and we've seen him come so far. The line at the end of the movie where he says, "I'll never be as wise a king as you are." Like that shows me what he's learned in this movie. Like,
right, and also his impression of Odin as this like all-knowing wise father. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the knowledge of the mistakes that that's revealed that Odin made as this warmongering conqueror in Ragnarok with Hela. But
that's why we'll try to stay away from Ragnarok, but that's why I love the interactions he does have with Odin, because he doesn't just write off, like, I think that's what we see in this movie is Odin we already see like in the prologue, the sort of telling of the story of the battle, like the war with the frost giants. We already see Odin being a changed person and learning from his mistakes in that.
100%.
Like, because initially
he's not the warmongering conqueror that we hear about in Ragnarok.
Yeah, and he even tells Thor, like, a king doesn't
seek out war, but he's always prepared for it.
Yeah. And like the difference in that, like it almost sounds duplicitous, but
he
it's
learned
not.
from the madness of Hela.
Yeah, and from his own
and the monster he created.
Yeah, his own war. Okay, my favorite. I don't know if I have favorite moments. I like the trio of Jane, Eric, and Darcy.
No,
I think it works. I think it's funny, and I like the realistic. They're real world people that we can like connect with.
But for me, like the fact that I did not miss them one bit in Ragnarok shows that I'm just like, meh. I don't really care a whole lot about these characters.
I missed Jane. I was asking where she was. Yeah,
I like that. She dumped me.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
I don't really enjoy them all that much in this. I mean, I enjoy the levity that they bring to the story, but beyond this movie, I don't think they have much legs as like shown in Thor 2. Yeah. As far as like establishing a strong supporting cast for Thor, I don't think they're that strong. Like look at the supporting cast of like Black Panther and Wakanda. Yes. I care about every single one of those characters. I care about that whole world. I don't really care about Jane, Darcy, or what's the doctor's name again?
Eric Selvig.
All that much.
But here's what I'll say. 5 years from now, are you still going to care about the supporting cast in Black Panther?
Yes.
Do you think so?
100%. Yeah, Okoye, Shuri. I keep messing that up. Mbatu. Like M'Baku. Like
he's the white gorilla.
I know.
Do you mean Wakabi?
I don't have all. I've only seen the movie once, but I enjoyed them way more, and they were just way more interesting to me as characters.
They are.
Nikita Lupita Nyong'o's character.
Yeah, I'll say just looking at it right now, like having filmed these movies just a few weeks apart from each other.
Filmed them? You filmed them? You filmed these movies? That's a productive couple of weeks.
Yeah. The most making Marvel movies, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, you shoot them out.
That's the kind of stuff that gets taken out of context. No, like viewing these movies just a few weeks apart, I agree with you. I think the supporting cast is better. I think that's directors. I think that's writers. I think that's creatives. Mm-hmm. I think that's the progression of film. But I'm not sure that 5 years from now we'll still care about it unless we're continuing to watch that movie like over and over again.
I'm 100% behind all Black Panther supporting cast. That's one of my favorite things about that movie. These characters, I do not care that much. I really don't.
And I think I'll take that because we don't care about them the same way we still care about like Pepper
or Peggy
Rhodey,
Carter
or Peggy Carter.
Pepper.
Let's see.
Agent 13.
What about like Scott Lang's
supporting cast?
I was gonna say the like his gang friends.
I love Luis.
Friends.
Luis is my favorite.
But I couldn't remember his name. I couldn't even remember his name.
Michael Pena. Luis.
Yeah, well I know the actor's name, but like,
I know a guy that knows a guy. So good.
What about Guardians of the Galaxy is a team movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have a...
But even Yondu's like, I mean, you could argue that he's part of the team in Guardians too, but like, he's a supporting character. I love him. Like, but I just don't care about Selvig, Jane, or Darcy. They're just kind of meh for me.
I think, here's what I'll say. I think in this movie, it's set aside. Look at Happy in the first movie. We see almost nothing of him to how much we get him in the second. He really shines in the second Iron Man film. Like he smashes the main villain into a wall with his car. Like he takes action and he drives the wrong way.
And his comedic moment where he's beating
raceway.
up that one guy while Black Widow's beating up 20.
Yeah, like he's there and really vested in the action. And Thor 2, so I think this movie gives even more screen time to Thor's supporting cast than we ever got for Happy Hogan in the first one.
But I care more about Happy.
In the first Iron Man movie, the first time you watched it.
Not in the first movie.
That's what I'm saying.
But I like that character so much more. He has so much more cool moments than any of these characters.
In Iron Man 2. So here's what I'll say.
Thor 2 shoots all the other, even
exactly.
those 3 down the crapper even more.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think for a first film they did fine. They really built on Thor, Loki, and Odin. Like that is like the heart of this movie. You can tell because like in the beginning we see the 3 of them, the 2 as boys and Odin as a father telling them the story. And we see like that's the heart of the story. It begins with them and it ends with them.
Shout out to the tooth gap in between the young Thors.
Yeah, right.
Kid actor.
When I become king,
I'll kill them all. What
get
Anakin?
Your braces.
Sounds
Thor.
like Anakin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna free all the slaves.
I'm gonna go all to the stars. I'm gonna free
first
all
one
the
to
slaves.
see them all.
No, you're not. You're gonna enslave the galaxy, you punk. Yeah, little puke. Okay. No, but I think that they're the heart of the movie. You can tell.
I care about those.
That's
3.
what I enjoy the most are the scenes with those 3.
Yep.
I think if Thor 2 had built on the supporting cast, we would like them more.
But they try and they fail. But they're just kind of dull to me. And I think Ragnarok for me is a big telling thing that like they're gone in Ragnarok, and I do not care at all. And I'm so much more entertained by what's going on in Ragnarok. But Ragnarok really impacts my viewing of this movie.
I'm sure it does, but what I'm saying is stepping away from that objectively, I don't think that says I don't think this movie as it stood alone, imagine if we didn't have Ragnarok, if you would still feel so poorly about these characters.
But I was never like craving the further adventures of Darcy, Selvig, and Jane Foster. That was never something I was like, man, I want to see more of these characters.
No, we don't need to crave for their adventures, but that's why they're supporting cast.
But I would want to see where Okoye, Suri, all Nikita, where all those characters are going.
I'll take that. We want to.
I'm so much more interested.
In the first movie,
Valkyrie,
we see Rhodey look at War Machine, and we
I can't wait for him to get his suit.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see where this character
goes. He
says
next time. And
I can't wait to see where Iron Man and Pepper go.
Yeah.
I care about all those supporting characters. I do not care about these guys.
And I'll take that with Valkyrie. It's almost like Valkyrie and Loki work as better supporting characters for Thor than freaking Hulk.
Yeah, I like Valkyrie and Loki more than Hulk in that movie.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nah, I like Hulk.
Hulk's fun.
I like Jane.
All pale in comparison to the Goldblum, though.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So good.
I want to know about Jane, though. I do want to know about. I believe that romance.
Out of those 3, probably what I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
But I do love Eric Selvig in Avengers 1.
Yeah, I was going to say with Selvig in Avengers.
I like him a lot, but he's completely separated from being a Thor supporting character. He's just kind of his.
Yeah.
Selvig could have been a whole completely different character in that movie.
All right, I'll say my favorite moments.
But I like that it's Selvig.
Before we get into more, let's keep going about pros. My favorite moments: Thor's outcast. It's an incredibly acted scene, incredibly powerful, and I think it's just enhanced all around.
I take from you your power.
Yeah, the tension and Loki trying to play the field, be like, no, Dad, it was my fault. So good. Anyways,
can we talk about Loki?
We will.
Okay.
Hammer scene and the shield thing. Also, I love the redneck tractor pull.
That is fun.
It's so fun. I thought the
great
marketing
Stanley
for this
cameo.
film was great.
I 100% agree.
They kept it very mysterious. They kept it very low key. They didn't show. There we go. See, I'm a master of punnery in disguise. I don't even know when I'm doing it myself. And I like the climax at I like the fight with Loki in the Bifrost and the dangling over the edge of the cliff.
I love that scene.
That is incredible.
My favorite part of that is I could have killed them, Father.
Yeah, I could have done it for you.
I could have done it for you.
No, Loki.
This is madness. Yeah,
so good.
No, and then he realizes how he didn't make his father proud and how he disappointed him.
Yeah,
and then he gives up on the royal family.
Yeah,
and descends into.
He gives up on everything. He gives up on Asgard, on the royal family, on all that he's already questioning his identity and his place there when he realizes that he's not he's not an Asgardian, that he's like adopted, and that just like cements it for him that he doesn't have a place there.
Loki's relationship with Asgard and the throne and the royal family is all so interesting to me, and I can't wait to rewatch all the movies that he's in to watch how it evolves.
Yeah.
Like, really just starting from Thor 1, going through all these movies, and just really digging into his arc.
So I'll ask a question here. Sort of around... 2 questions around that. First, how do you feel about the climax being in Asgard as opposed to Earth? Did you feel that was good for this movie? Is it?
Yes, because I'm way more interested in Asgard than I am Earth.
Yeah? Like, because we have the whole destroyer scene in New Mexico.
We already had, like, part 1 of the climax and part 2 of the climax in Asgard.
And you think it's fitting that it's in Asgard?
100%.
Yeah, I'm also realizing that, like...
Because Loki's the villain, and this is all manipulations to gain the favor of Odin.
What about, like, Thor 2, the climax is on Earth, isn't it? He
it's in London.
Defeats Malekith.
Well, it's on Earth, but he's, like, shooting between different dimensions and stuff because of the convergence.
But I think it's nice for Thor's story to really take place, to see a hero similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, where, like, it's not necessarily the fate of the world that's at stake.
Yeah, it's the fate of your family.
Yeah.
And that's way more interesting to me than black gobbledygook trying to take over the galaxy in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like Eagle of the Planet. Moving on.
Eagle of the Planet is incredible. Did he... Okay, I'll ask this question. I think the other one has sort of answered itself in the movie. Is Loki the best Marvel villain we've seen so far? I'm not talking about all the MCU movies. I'm saying Thor is the most current movie we've seen. It's released in 2011, and you only have Iron Man 1 and 2 and Incredible Hulk. Is Loki the best Marvel villain we've seen?
I want to say yes, but like, I really do like Obadiah Stane.
I believe in Loki more, in his arc.
I'm more entertained and understand Obadiah Stane more. Loki is like, okay, getting into Loki, his like motivation and his connivery I feel is a little convoluted in this movie.
I don't think so.
Really? I have a hard time tracking his motivation at all times.
I think so. I did have a question with there. So I initially jotted this down as we were watching. Did he time everything so that Thor would get banished right when Odin went into the sleep? So, like, was he always intending to be king?
I don't understand. I don't understand all that.
So, what I think is explained near the end, when he kind of like, I can't remember if he's talking with Odin or if he's talking with the warriors or if he's talking with Thor. But he actually says, oh no, he's talking with Laufey.
Laufey,
yeah.
Laufey.
He's talking with him, and
which is a dope name, and I really do like Laufey.
I like him, yeah, as like a minor villain.
Yeah, I really do like him.
I believe him. I kept referring to Steppenwolf in Justice League.
He does have a similar design.
Yeah, similar design, but I believe and care about this minor villain Laufey way more than Steppenwolf.
100%.
But he tells him that, like, kind of egging Thor on he lets them in there, and that, like, on Thor's coronation day, and he tells him, like, that was just to ruin Thor's day because I don't care about him, and I didn't want him to become king yet.
Well, it's not that he doesn't care. He doesn't want Thor to be king.
Yeah, because he thinks he's a
god of mischief.
Yeah, and he's like, just to like ruin with him, but like, then he's like, it kind of seems like, so did Loki mean for Thor to get banished, or just to kind of like, because he clearly eggs Thor on to go attack the frost giants. Is that just more him being mischievous with Thor?
I don't know if he knew that Odin would banish him. Yeah. I think that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. Yeah.
And I think from there, it's furthered by like on what's the name of the frost giants place?
Oh, shoot.
Jotunheim. On Jotunheim.
Yodelheim.
He kind of like, he finds out. That's what I always think.
Yodelheim.
Like, Yodelheim.
Yodelheim. Frost giants. Yodelheim.
Laufey's out there like,
I hear you, Thor.
But you see him kind of like find out his skin's turning blue or whatever, and then he confronts Odin about it, which I think is also a great scene. Tom Hiddleston starts
like that.
He likes to.
I like his
unleash
unraveling his heritage.
Yeah, and you can tell when he lets it out, and he like Loki gets a little crazy, a little bit of like spit flying, from his mouth, and he's just mad and insane as he's yelling at Odin, as Odin's basically having like a heart attack, and he's almost not even realizing until he calms down. And then he's like, oh, crap, my dad is, like, falling over.
I like that he discovers his Frostshine heritage, but then rejects it.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think after that and seeing Odin crumble, like, he realizes that the crown has fallen to him, and then immediately, like, he tells so there's this conversation with the Warriors 3 where they're like, we don't know about Thor's
More
banishment.
side characters I don't give a crap about.
I'm with you. I don't really like him, but I think that's because of what has happened in recent
Then we are
times.
stranded.
It's
Such
so,
a
like,
dorky line.
I will say, I think I remember my first viewing.
Don't mistake my appetite for apathy.
It took me out of like the film, seeing like this Asian guy in Asgard. I was like,
The only Asian dude.
yeah, I was like,
So all these white people.
what are they?
Oh, and then Heimdall's black.
Yeah, but
I don't
like,
know how race works in.
exactly. We don't know how Asgardians work. Okay, I think that Loki, I think he stumbles onto the throne, and things are just kind of happening to
And he's
around
just
him.
rolling with it.
And he's just kind of rolling with it, and he's letting his emotions and his own like feelings just kind of rule him and take control.
Guide his actions.
Yeah, and he's just wanting to like impress his father and finally be better than Thor. And when he realizes he has the crown,
Not be better. He just wanted to be equal. That's what.
yeah,
he said.
that's true. He says that in the end. I just wanted to be your equal. By the way, I love that dialogue when they're in the front and the
Bifrost.
Bifrost and Thor saying it's madness. You can't kill an entire race. And Loki's like,
Why not?
Is it? So good.
Yeah, I love that.
I quote
That's
that
like a little
regularly.
glimpse into like his like
Avengers.
piss and vinegar that he's gonna have in Avengers. How do we feel about Thor, like Hiddleston's performance and Loki compared to what's to come? I feel like this is his weakest performance.
I wouldn't say that at all.
You like what Thor movie?
It's not that I'd say that I like it better. I think it's a continuous performance. I think he's building on what's to come.
I agree with that. I like him way more in every other movie though than this.
Yeah,
I think he's way more interesting in every other movie than this. I feel like he really has. Hiddleston has more of a grasp on the character.
Yeah.
In the rest of the films.
I think that's part of it is that the movies progress, and as the movies progress, characters progress. It's like, do you like Luke in A New Hope more than you like him in The Last Jedi?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so the actor progresses as the character progresses, and their understanding of him.
Han in A New Hope versus Empire Strikes Back.
A New Hope, like, it has some incredible moments. It's a pretty simple movie.
It's okay. So is the first Guardians.
Yeah, exactly.
So is Force Awakens.
They're not really
still
like layered or like it's not written with such incredible dialogue, like. Okay, I wrote this comment. What do you think of this? I think the movie has a bit of a mythical Lord of the Rings kind of fantasy vibe mixed with sort of like on the Earth side, like the science trio is sort of like this ghost hunters scientific intrigue vibe. And the movie starts off with that, with them like storm chasing or kind of whatever. And there's all the shield stuff mixed in there. But so I think that's what Branagh was maybe going for, was like blending the Asgard perspectives with the Earth perspective. And I think it helps bring viewers into the idea of aliens or like expanding the Marvel universe in a way beyond Earth and introducing heroes that just have straight up superpowers. They're just like, they're unexplainable. They're not like Iron Man who has a suit, or Thor Hulk who is like a scientific experiment gone wrong. They're just a straight up like, we have powers and they're almost magic. What do you think of that?
I do like the interesting like mix of like the more fantasy elements with the real world elements. I think the fantasy elements is getting into cons now. I think Asgard doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Just the heavy CGI. It just looks very cold, very dead, very lifeless.
Yeah.
That you never see any common people.
Yeah.
There's never bustle in Asgard.
Yeah.
I don't feel. It just feels like a cold, empty city, not a real place that people live in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a few set pieces. The Bifrost, some of like the throne room.
They look cool, but I don't really feel like we really build the world of Asgard that well, and therefore I'm not that invested.
It's the CGI alien world, and I think
there's a lot of big empty, cold rooms and halls with not much in them. There's not a whole lot of extras. The movie feels very empty.
Yeah, even in New Mexico.
Yeah, it's like this is town that we built in the middle of nowhere, and there's no one there.
But I think in one sense, that helps us to focus on characters like Thor and Loki and Odin, but in other senses...
But in Fellowship of the Ring, I care about all the core members of the Fellowship, but we're actually building a big world that feels lived in. Asgard doesn't feel lived in.
Yes.
That's part of my problem.
Yeah. So I'll say, kind of rolling with this Lord of the Rings thing, one of my critiques was that I thought an incredible asset to that trilogy of movies, to Peter Jackson's originals, is practical... what they call bigatures, which are like miniatures built on a large scale.
Look at like Gondor.
Yeah. Like, so Minas Tirith, this huge white city in Return of the King, well, in other films, they built a practical, like, very large miniature of that so they could have real footage of that city. So it looks real, and then they can CGI in, like, people walking around in there and stuff. Mm-hmm. But like
the Arena of Geonosis is the same way.
Exactly. So it's a practical set, which doesn't... That way we're not just having these wide sweeping shots or like background green screen of... What would you like say, like artistic renderings of like this city? It's not just concept art in the background.
And I feel like you could do that. Well, even like Coruscant, like you have this huge CGI city,
and you have
but
all
it feels
the cars flying around in the background.
So much extras, so many. It's a very big lived-in world. Plus, a lot of like those sunset scenes and stuff. Those are actual matte paintings that are CGI'd in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even like Rogue One, when you see like that little piece of Coruscant, like during that flashback where you see young Krennic and young Galen Erso, like those are matte paintings in the background from Revenge of the Sith. And for me, Asgard just lacks a lot of that. Yeah, it's a very world that I'm glad it's blown to hell in Ragnarok. Because I do not care. But one thing that Ragnarok and Thor 2 does a little bit better is it makes it feel a little bit more real world, a little bit more lived in. But this movie's just bland.
There's a few more there's people in there.
Yeah.
I thought this movie had a couple of...
I don't like Asgard, and its culture isn't convincing to me. And the royal family doesn't feel like a royal family to me because we never meet any common people. Yeah. So I never get a sense of separation because we're only in like either the Bifrost or at the palace, and the palace doesn't even have like regular people there. Yeah,
they just have like guards all the time, and the guards though are always like on like the other side of a door. Like,
yeah, but still, it's very bland and very boring.
Yeah, even when the frost giants come in, like at the very end,
where's the security?
Yeah, they take out Heimdall.
How do they get all the way to the Odin sleep chamber?
Yeah, you see Freya or Frida laying
Frida.
Yeah. Who's Freya? What's that from?
That's some other Norse thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyways, we see Frida like in that room, and she grabs a sword, and you can hear action going on the other side of the door. But like, yeah, you're right. How do like 6 frost giants make it through all of Asgard, like straight into the
walked
Odin
across
chamber?
The whole Bifrost?
Yeah, because nobody was there.
Yeah,
apparently.
Versus in Thor 3, when Hela shows up, the whole army shows up.
Yeah. Like, it's believable. It's believable at the beginning because we see that, like, Loki snuck them in using magic somehow. But, like, if they're just walking across the Rainbow Bridge, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. I think, speaking of the Rainbow Bridge, there's, like, at the beginning, when they're first going to Jotunheim, we straight up have Heimdall expositing what the Bifrost is and how it works and what it does. And I understand in a film like this where you're approaching a fantasy setting, sometimes you're just going to need to dish out information to viewers who don't know and don't understand this concept. But I think there's there can be more tasteful ways of doing it than just like, this is how this works, and it's going to come into play later.
Or doing something more interesting.
Yeah.
Like talking about, look how like Obi-Wan talks to about the Force.
Yeah.
In A New Hope to Luke for the first time.
Like he's teaching them.
Yeah.
Like
that's an incredible moment.
Rather than having a character
just
like,
spout off
like Volstaff, who like these people who are Asgardians and have probably heard and known about the Bifrost.
And have used it for years.
They should know about it, coming in and like being like, so we won't be able to come back? ? Like, how does explain it to us once again?
Why can't you just keep it running?
Yeah.
Keep the car running, Heimdall.
Yeah. Let us know once more, because I fell asleep in 3rd grade Asgardian school. Yeah.
One of the cool things about this movie, though, is the story is like written by J. Michael Straczynski, which is
I don't know who that is.
He did all the like Amazing Spider-Man comics from like Civil War to Brand New Day.
Really?
Yeah, and he wrote the like Thor's Return run, which is really good.
Yeah.
When he comes back, like after when like Asgard's on Earth, and stuff, like in post Civil War, when Thor comes back, he writes like that group of issues.
That's awesome.
And the story of this movie captures the tone and feel of those movies excellently.
I think it does. I think this is a great Thor movie.
Or a great representation of what a lot of modern Thor comics feel like, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
At least that J. Michael Straczynski run.
What else do I got? The fight scene on Jotunheim. I think it's there's more of that kind of like little noticeable, like pretty obvious exposition. Like again with Volstaff, he gets touched by one of the frost giants. Volstagg,
like the deer.
I'm just falling all over this. I've even read comics with these characters, and I just don't. Anyways, he gets grabbed by one of the frost giants, and his skin like gets burned. Because it's so cold.
Don't let him touch you.
Yeah, he yells out, "Don't let them touch you!" Immediately, we see Loki get touched on his skin, but his skin doesn't burn.
It's cool. I like that moment.
Do you like that moment?
I do.
But I feel it's a little too like wink, wink. We just had somebody get touched, so we could have him yell, so we could see like. Otherwise, so imagine if
I like it. It adds mystery.
But if Volstaff yelled out,
Volstagg,
if he wasn't there to yell out, "Don't let them touch you," and we see Loki get touched and his skin turn blue, would that have the same impact? Or
no, I don't think it would.
You don't think so?
No, I like that moment. What I don't like about that sequence, though, is the biggest action sequence in the film is in the first 20 to 30 minutes.
I think that's your opinion.
But it's like the best use of Thor's powers.
I'll say yes.
And it's like the most exciting.
I don't know.
It's the most exciting action sequence.
The tornado he creates to take out the destroyer. What?
Yeah, I've been like, this is boring.
You don't like Thor creating a tornado and then literally hammering the destroyer into the earth?
I would have liked. Speaking of the destroyer, I would have liked more backstory for the destroyer.
Nah,
he's just kind of this like metal like creature thing. But I feel like if we just gave him a little bit more backstory, like, hey, this is like a banished creature. That like I remember reading about the backstory for the destroyer and like really being, oh, that's interesting. I would have liked something a little bit more than just this robot that comes to destroy things.
That's all I care.
But I think there's a way to make that a little bit more interesting.
I just see it as like it's Asgard's security system for their vault, and whoever the king is controls it. That's why Loki can control it. That's why Odin just pounds his staff and it comes out.
I think a little bit of backstory would have gone a long way for that character. Just a couple lines. I think
that's why, is because you see it as a character. I don't see it as a character.
Yeah.
I literally see it as their security system.
That's true. But he seems like a character to me. I would have liked a little bit more there. Let's see. I think that's a lot of. We've talked about a lot of.
We've covered
a lot of like my like things that I don't like in this movie. I really like Coulson.
Yeah,
Coulson owns this movie. Like he's just being witty.
He really comes
just being
into his
awesome.
own.
Yeah, this is his best performance thus far.
The hospital scene is hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite comedic. You're no match for the mighty.
Yeah,
I like how they bring back the tasing gag.
Yeah,
in Ragnarok as well.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun.
It's good. I like speaking of Coulson, I like the interrogation scene with him where he's like questioning Thor after the hammer incident, and then he leaves and Loki's there, and that whole interaction, and we see Loki interact with Thor who's shattered. It's a very Scar moment, Scar and like Simba, where he's like lying to him about his father's death, and but then he walks out, comes, and like Coulson comes back in, and he's like goodbye, and Coulson's like goodbye. He just
left.
Came back. Yeah.
I just came back. Yeah, I really like that moment. Like he had a lot of like really good like witty one-liners.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Heimdall betrays the throne in both Thor 1 and Thor 2.
Yeah. Pretty much every Thor movie.
Yeah.
He betrays Hela. Like,
he's betraying the throne there. Heimdall has one function.
Betray the throne.
Heimdall betrayed the throne.
He's all about honor and duty and honoring the throne, unless he doesn't believe in who's on the throne.
Yeah, then frick that. Which versus Okoye, who's like, I serve the throne.
Such a different perspective, am I right?
Yeah.
What do you think of Heimdall's supporting cast?
Meh. I think Idris Elba's wasted.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. Idris Elba is so much more talented than to be wasted on this one guy who just looks longing into a green screen.
But I think one of the reasons he shows up, like in Thor 2, in Avengers, and in Ragnarok, is because he's the one who has traction amongst all the other characters.
Because it's Idris Elba.
Do you think that's the only reason?
I think that's why. It's because Idris Elba. You have him on contract. You use him.
I think he's a cool like design and a cool character.
He is like on a surface level, but there's nothing really to connect with him. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, we don't have like any arc for him.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, and he doesn't really do much. My favorite Heimdall moment is in Thor 2, though, when like the spaceship like starts coming over the Bifrost and he takes it out, and then he looks back and there's like 6 more coming. I love that. That's my favorite Heimdall moment. You don't remember that? It. I'm excited to watch Thor 2, even though it is ultimately forgettable. All right, let's talk about ranking.
Yeah. So let me pull this.
You go first.
So currently Thor is 5th from the bottom for me. So, where are we at? Are we at 18 films right now with Black Panther?
Yes.
So Thor is at 14 for me. Just above Thor 2, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3.
You put it over Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
I had so much more fun watching Iron Man 2. And dramatically, I really liked a lot of Tony's stuff and the world building so much more in Iron Man 2.
So we just watched it.
I think Iron Man 2 is so much more fun. And I like the world I'm so much more invested in. Action's better too. The ending action scene where War Machine and Iron Man are taking out all the Iron Drones in the garden, super dope.
I like the characters better.
Really? In this movie?
I feel it more. I think
Pepper and Tony?
I'm not talking about all the characters. I'm talking about, I think Thor, I think the H trio.
His arc?
I think Thor's arc. I think Loki's progression to developing like who's going to be the main villain in Avengers. And I think, especially in a retroactive viewing from Ragnarok, seeing Odin in this film, I remember him not being that big of a character, but his involvement, like from a writing standpoint, I see how how they directed and bookended, like Odin teaching his kids at the beginning about what it means to be a king and their history in this war and like how to learn from the lessons of the past, to like that banishment scene, which is in like the like kind of early middle part of the film, and like it's still the 3 of them, it's that trio. Then we see like Odin and Loki one-on-one, like
coming to terms with who they are
with
in
who
a
they
post
are. And
we
keep getting all these shots of Odin in his sleep, like when Thor is it when Thor dies or when he tries to take his hammer but he can't, and like Odin sheds like a single tear? What moment is that? Or when I say Thor dies, when he gets knocked down by the Destroyer.
Yes.
I can't remember which part it is.
Something around that. Yeah. But I do like that moment.
And then coming to the end, when he wakes up and we see the 3 of them then there like dangling over the edge, and I see Odin like learning and like realizing
Odin's
that
evolving as a character as well.
Even in this short movie, we've seen like he's spent all of his time investing in Thor, believing he's going to be the king, maybe even as like just a a subconscious bias for his true son as opposed to Loki, who's adopted. And then in that moment, in his Odin sleep, where he's aware of everything going on around him, like realizing that he's neglected to like really teach and train and foster like character and development and wisdom in Loki. And then we see like the gentleness in that single line when Loki's dangling over the edge and he's like, I did this all for you. I would have done it. I would have killed them all. And he just like, no, Loki, like that's not it. But
I do really enjoy all that stuff.
So that's what
Iron Man
sells
2,
this.
I understand that.
That's what sells this movie for me. Iron Man 2, the only substance it has is Tony with his father. Like, that's the
like
greatest
deep, dramatic substance.
Yeah, like that's the greatest substance in the character development of that film. Otherwise, it's letting us know that Tony got a better core. It's introducing Black Widow. It's introducing War Machine.
It's furthering Tony Pepper's relationship
A little bit.
I like that.
They kiss.
But they have a lot of like cool subtle stuff though.
Yeah.
The omelet.
Yeah.
Don't discount the omelet.
Okay. I'll just get this out of the way right now. I like Tony and Pepper. I don't think they're great. I think it's okay.
I enjoy them more out of nostalgia than anything else.
They're not a compelling romance to me.
They're not a Steve and Peggy.
No, that I like.
Gosh, I can't wait to watch First Avenger next.
Gosh, it's next.
Yay.
Here we go,
Now,
folks. We're next. I think it's going to stay in the same place for me.
Okay.
But the thing is, it almost makes me want to put Iron Man lower because simply because of Loki versus Obadiah Stane. I think Loki is more compelling for me than Stane is.
I'd agree with that, but Jeff Bridges is fun.
Yeah, he is. I think Iron Man
Tony
works.
Stark built this suit in a cave with a box of scraps. That's so good.
I think Iron Man works better as a film overall, so it's going to stay where it is.
Yeah.
But
cool. Yeah, for me I have this movie at number 15 on my list. So Iron Man of the movies we've watched, we have Iron Man on top, then we have Iron Man 2, then Thor, then the Incredible Hulk on the bottom. So I have it goes.
Oh man,
14.
I forgot to put Incredible Hulk on the bottom, but it's just because I don't like Iron Man 3. That's why it's above there.
Yeah. So yeah. For me, it goes 14 Iron Man 2, 16 Thor, 16 Thor: The Dark World, 17 Iron Man 3, 18 Incredible Hulk.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's good for both of us.
Yeah,
I think we're good to wrap it up.
We'll see if it changes from here.
Iron Man 3 is the biggest one that could shake up the bottom.
Yeah, it really could.
Because we both haven't seen the movie in a long time, and I'm excited to see where we both
Unless we see another film that we thought was good, and we rewatched it, and we're like, what did we... what was this?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm saying...
But looking at that list, that's not going to happen.
That's why I'm saying, like... Well, because the movies have been... They just learned, and they're getting progressively better. But I also think, like... That's why I'm bringing this up with Black Panthers. Maybe 5 years from now, we'll disagree. That's why I think, like, Thor...
I think Black Panther's strong.
Talking about movies that age well, like, we remembered liking Incredible Hulk, but it doesn't age well compared to Iron Man. And I think, like, Thor, some parts of it age well, others don't, like CGI Asgard and that kind of stuff. So, you got anything else?
No, one quick note. I do like how in Ragnarok, Taika Waititi doesn't abandon Odin as a character.
Yeah.
And he doesn't abandon the arc. He keeps that.
Yeah.
And
where's Odin in Thor 2?
He's there.
I remember almost nothing.
He doesn't have a whole
movie.
lot to do. But I do like how Taika Waititi keeps the arc.
Yeah.
And keeps that going and doesn't abandon the Odin character while abandoning everything else that doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm with you there. It's like Last Jedi. Cut it. Get rid of it.
Yep.
Leave the past behind. Let it die. That was Kylo Ren.
No, it's let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
Kill it if you have to.
I know when Matt has been able to do a good Kylo Ren impression. Adam Driver's so unique as an actor.
It's because his voice is...
Yeah, it's so unique.
It's that big nose.
Yeah.
He can't talk around it. Thanks for joining us this week on Ultimate Fan Podcast. If you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We've got Podium page, and we have a YouTube channel.
Hopefully this episode will be on iTunes.
Yeah, we should be getting our iTunes stuff up and ready to roll, so you can find us there. And
we'll be on YouTube at Ultimate Fan Podcast.
Yeah, that's our channel. You can also, at Ultimate Fan Podcast, you can subscribe to us or follow us on all your social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or send us an email with your thoughts or comments. We'd love to interact with you and get you in on this conversation. Our email is ultimatefanpodcast@gmail.com. And you can leave us a comment here or on anywhere you're viewing this, and we'll pick it up, and we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, where you rank it. If you think it's a better movie than Iron Man 2.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Yeah. Anything else?
May the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Always.
Always. The Force will be with you. Once again, thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And we'll see you next time.